Oh, my husband, Elaine said to Raphael. I wanted to offer her some coffee and give her a personal tour of the compound before you started with the torture. She gave an exaggerated sigh and shook her head as if it were merely a slight inconvenience that her plans were changed. Elaine looked down at Eve as she was attempting to stand Agent Black. I would advise you to stay down. Eve ignored her warning and attempted to get back up. That was when Raphael kicked her in the stomach, and Eve fell back to the ground. She couldn't breathe and hunched over, warding off another kick to the gut. Feeling exposed and vulnerable, Eve was glad she had not eaten anything since early that morning, or she would have lost it. Eve tried to crawl away but was surrounded by 6 men at once, and they looked quite intimidating. She curled up into a ball and closed her eyes. Eve would have to wait this one out. Either they would kill her, or Nadia would rescue her. There were no other options. She had just checked in before arriving, so Eve knew she had to survive 6 hours, plus a plane ride and a driving time to get here. 12 hours at the most. She could do it. The blows kept coming, and the pain compounded as her body's bruised and broken areas were intentionally kicked or hit repeatedly. She was sure her ribs were cracked, if not broken. Eve felt a popping sensation in her knee, and there was an unbearable throbbing, especially when she tried to move her leg. The blows left her feeling lightheaded. There were black spots and white flashes in her vision. A kick to the head caused a ringing in her ears, and then she passed out. When she came to, the air was thick with the scent of fresh brewed coffee. Eve was strapped to a chair with duct tape, and there was a mug of hot coffee in front of her. Unable to reach out and pick up the mug, she thought to herself, that's the real torture. Fuck them. Eve tried to lean forward to reach it with her tongue, just a small taste, impossible. She was having trouble seeing. Both eyes were swelled almost shut. Blood had pooled in her mouth and leaked out between her teeth. Her mouth was too dry to allow her saliva to dissolve the metallic crud. A wound on her head was still bleeding. She could feel the blood running down her face. Eve wished it would stop, that they would stop. She just needed a minute to think, to plan an escape. Her ears were ringing, and the voices coming at her sounded like they were in a tunnel. Raphael's facial expression was one of absolute disdain. He despised her. She meant nothing to him. Tell us why you're here. What's the mission, Agent Black? Raphael inquired. She would not provoke him with phrases like go to hell or go fuck yourself. Agents did this all the time, and the only thing it got them was more pain. Or at least that's how it happened on TV. Although, come to think of it, she didn't know any agents personally that had ever been tortured. A first, go her. And she smiled a big bloody grin. The next blow to her face was hard, and this time he used a closed fist. She felt her nose crack, and blood spurted onto her white tee. Damn, she loved that tee. It would likely never come clean again. She thought about the man on the plane and how she tricked him. God, she could use a Bloody Mary, a Bloody Mary. Agent Black, I really don't want to kill you, Raphael growled. He attacked with a big right overhand punch. Eve tried to dodge, but taped to the chair, she succeeded only in offering her chin to the blow, causing the chair and Eve to fall backward and onto the floor with a thump. She was helped up by 2 unseen thugs, only to take another fist to the face. She told herself to keep calm and keep the inner dialogue going. Bloody, my favorite phrase is bloody hell. Why? Oh, from that TV show when I was younger. I decided to make it my catchphrase. Franklin never. Another blow to the face, the ringing in her ears changed to a different pitch. Franklin was raised in England and never said bloody hell. What was wrong with him? That's when the next fist got her. Eve tried to get up but realized she was still stuck to the chair. How could she forget? Eve bit her lip to keep from crying out. She laid her head back down. Every movement that passed caused some muscle or bone to ache, and her awareness ebbed. Black fog swirled at the edges of her consciousness, drawing her in, and she lost the fight. When she woke, it was pitch black. It took her some time to remember where she was, somewhere on the Al-Fuqura compound. As her eyes grew accustomed to the dark, she could tell she was in a cell with dirt walls, obviously underground. She started to lose her nerve. At least 5 or 6 hours had to have passed. Would Nadia find her here? Did they plan to leave her down here? God, she hurt. With her tongue, she felt around her mouth. A few teeth were loose, and 1 or 2 were missing. As her eyes adjusted to the dark, she realized the cell was one of many, and she found this oddly reassuring. Eve knew she had to keep her wits about her if she would get out of this predicament. She closed her eyes and forced herself to open her other senses to describe her current environment. Mold, moisture, and dirt, the smell of the earth was different from the desert sand. That smell is metallic. This is more like potting soil with a sweet smell. There was a bucket in the corner with a few inches of smelly stale water. Its purpose is not for drinking but for bodily functions as a portable toilet. Her captors must not like to clean up human excrement, but she noted they had not provided toilet paper. Apparently, she had also wet herself. Well, good, being unclean would keep the Muslim men away. Eve was having difficulty focusing. She was hungry, thirsty, and frightened. With nothing to do to occupy her mind, she could only focus on her pain and imminent rescue. She attempted to move when she thought it possible, then realized it made things worse. Eve gritted her teeth and dragged herself closer to the corner, in the back, and kneeled, leaning a shoulder against the wall. She knew she would give in. Everyone could be broken, and Eve was no exception. They will do what it would take to break her, and before long, she would have to give in either due to pain or exhaustion. Her thoughts went foggy. She lost consciousness once again and hit the cold dirt floor, her arm breaking the fall. She woke again to find Raphael sitting on a wooden stool outside the cell, staring at her. In his hand was a glass of crystal-clear water. The glass was a beautiful sight and the water even more so. The dim light was reflected in the condensation and in the droplets that fell to the ground. Drip. 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 Eve's mouth was dry, and her lips cracked from lack of liquids. She ran her tongue over her gums, seeking moisture of any kind, trying to dissolve the thick crusty blood, still there from the earlier beating. There was never a time when she wanted water more than she did at that moment, and this was almost comical, considering she was raised in a desert.